here we go. Let's welcome to the show. First time on the show, right? Diva in the
Mm-hmm.
Dirt. Yeah. How's
Yes.
it going? Great to have
Uh,
you.
Thanks for having me. And I got the link this morning from Shawnee Groves, and she said,
Perfect.
she said I'm
She's
supposed to be
amazing.
inviting everybody, and so I thought I might be able to make it. Today is sourdough Saturday, so I bake sourdough bread that I
Oh, yeah.
sell from my home, and so it was a small order, so that's all done. Orders are done, and now I've just got squashes that are cooking up in the outdoor oven for the chickens because there's leftover squashes from last year. I thought I'm not throwing them out; I'll give them to the chickens.
There
And I
you
thought
go.
this is just so great.
Hmm.
What? You know, I love what you're doing here with the community, like having this. This is something that I have thought about, and so watching you and seeing the format, it is just so good. That does, this is something that helps smaller channels. It also lets us to build the community bigger, lets us
Hmm.
get to know one another, in a whole other way, in more of a relaxed setting, not so, where everything is, you got to have your flashy, words coming up and things like that to draw people in. So
Hmm.
it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is an awesome thing.
Well, that's great, and I really appreciate the compliments on that too. And again, was really one of the big goals of doing this show was to build community, to be kind of, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, is to kind of do something that's kind of where on the weekends we, as whether we're garden communicators and small channels and things of that, our own, or just folks who like gardening in general, have a place as a community we can come together and hang out. And
Hmm.
then really in the long run it was ultimately was the goal. And as I mentioned too at the beginning, I've been really surprised at how lucky we've been in what we've done as far as our featured guests and things that we've been able to do
It's
to
amazing.
do that as what would be a way to drive in and bring an opening for those of us. Again, I still consider myself a small channel. Everybody else, gives us an opportunity to kind of have a place we can gather, to hang out together, to learn about each other. I learn,
Hmm.
as we mentioned with Robin just before, hear about garden stories, journeys, and a little bit more than what we're going to get from folks if we're going to check out their channels and stuff like that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's that was this was really the whole idea, and it's just been so wonderful to see
Hmm.
how this has worked out as well as it has.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean?
And so me getting to watch you and just how the format and just the different things, it's like, oh, okay, it gives me a really good template to kind of draw from because it is something. Hey, my
Yeah,
grandma, um, this is something
excellent.
that I wanted to kind of, you know, go in. Hey, broke farmer,
Yep, yep, yep.
myself, and that eventually as well because actually broke farmer was I think I think it was his channel. I was a guest on his channel, way back when, and his whole reason for bringing me up is he goes, people don't know who you are,
Mm,
and so that's one of those
yeah,
things where you go, I want to give that back, and so this sort of formula that you're doing, where people can come up and say who they are, you get a better snapshot of knowing what is their channel about or just what's going on in their lives, like it gives you that
yeah.
a bit more personal, so I do really appreciate it. But I don't know if you know that I'm from Canada.
Canada. All right. Excellent, excellent. We
So I
love
live
our
yeah,
Canadians around here.
yeah. I live
Mm.
on Vancouver Island, and so I have a
Oh,
grow zone of 9B. So most people are that I meet, especially from the States, they're always like, "What? You're 9B?" And it's yeah, like Vancouver Island is considered the Hawaii of Canada. And so we
it's
do
interesting.
have a more temperate climate,
Yeah.
and so I can grow quite a few, quite a lot more than just your average Canadian. So it's been a great thing for me. But mhm.
Yeah. I'll
And
share
I
this.
started what?
My daughter's mother and I, when we got married, we were from Seattle, so we wanted something that was kind of it wasn't going to be so expensive, something that we could do. So we went to Victoria
Mhm.
and took out and checked out Bouchard Gardens and did all of that sort of
It's
stuff up there. Just a
amazing.
beautiful place, such a
Yeah.
beautiful place.
Yeah, and
And that
it's
whole
a it's a
island's beautiful. It's just such
it
a great
is.
place.
It is. It's just a beast to get off and get on. It's so expensive, to travel. For me to leave, like, to go to Vancouver or whatever, it's about $200 return, for me to take the
Right.
ferry in a vehicle. So that's the only negative thing. But
Yeah.
Americans coming here, your dollar spends way farther. So it is a great place to come, because it's like,
Yeah.
wow, we're living like kings. Look, we can stay in these really high-end hotels because it's because of the exchange on the dollar. I always say to
Yeah,
South
Victoria
Florida.
has this one that's like a castle. You probably know
Mm-hmm.
this, right? The one that's like a
Mm-hmm.
castle. That's where we
Yep.
stayed, like up in one of the big spires that they
Yeah.
had and everything. It was
Yeah.
so cool. It was so
That's
cool.
the Empress Hotel, and that's when the Queen was alive. And she hasn't been here for years, but
Yeah,
anytime
yep,
she
yep.
would come, anytime royalty would come, they would stay at the Empress, and
Yeah.
they still do high tea and things like that. Yeah,
Oh, it
it's
was
a
amazing.
great
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, high tea, all that sort of, it was such a fun experience. I just,
Hmm.
man, it was
Yeah,
so great.
yeah. So I think this is my fourth year. It's fourth or fifth year to be a grower. Before that, 2020 changed a lot of people's lives, and
Yeah, it did.
I'm a jazz and blues singer, and so that's what I did as my profession,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
so couldn't do that anymore. And I am a person who absolutely hates growing, loathes it. My mother is a grower, and she'd go out to the garden and grow. It's beautiful. It's so therapeutic. And all my life, I'd go, Ma, I loathe gardening. And I had not much to do. I have during that time in 2020, and I had my 5 adult children and a son-in-law living with me at the time. And so we'd go out and we'd have adult beverages, and I'd weed a little bit, and then
Mhm.
I'd go, hey, I grow a little bit of something. And
Yeah.
there is just something about when you go and put a cabbage seedling into ground, and then you pull out a cabbage this big. It's that thing where you're like, I have grown vegetables. Look at this, you know, and
Yeah.
and cook it up, and then sitting at the table with my all my adults, and I'd go, I grew that. Hey, I grew that. How does it
Yeah.
taste? And it just became this, kind of, I got kind of the gardening bug,
Yeah.
and just started to turn more and more of my yard into gardens. Got chickens in 2020, so I learned chicken husbandry
Yeah.
as well. And I've had a vet come, and so every time I pay my vet, he comes to my home. Every time I pay
Mhm.
him, I just went to veterinarian school to learn more about chicken husbandry, and it's been a cool experience. This past
Yeah.
year in January, I had one chicken hurt herself,
Ooh.
which I think she fractured her back, and I rehabilitated
Mhm.
that chicken back to walking, and she is still with me and still going strong. She does have still a little lump on her back, and
Yeah.
she doesn't fly up as high, but she's
Is
done
she
really
still
well. But
laying? Is she still
yes,
laying?
yeah, she's still laying, and
Oh,
she's
nice.
she's 3. But yeah, and so I live in an urban center, and it's about a
Mhm.
quarter. My property is about a quarter of an acre, and I have my house.
Okay,
I have
still
a
good size for an urban center, huh?
Yeah, yeah. It's an older residential area, I guess. So back
Yeah.
when they used to allow you to to have lawn,
Right,
now
right,
you go
exactly.
now you get a postage stamp or something.
And barely
And
anything.
yeah, and so I have this front boulevard, and I
Mhm.
do yeah, I have my front boulevard. It's a huge space, and all I used to do is get to uh mow the weeds. And so I started putting down wood chips, and so I kind of use the back to Eden method. I use the Ruth Stout method for growing potatoes, things like that. And it's just been this really in-depth thing of learning and understanding, just how to, it's like I use those methods to keep the moisture down, because water can get so expensive and whatnot.
Mhm.
And I think it was three years ago, I grew 1,500 pounds of food off of this property, which was
Wow.
remarkable for,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And such a great,
Yeah.
yeah, again, too, for just only a few years into this growing experience and everything to have built it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, thanks. And so, I started my channel, I think it was in 2022, and it was kind of a spin-off from what I was doing on Facebook because I speak to my mom every night on the phone and I would tell her what I was growing, what I was doing in the yard, and she'd go, "Well,
Mhm.
I don't remember that." So I was just doing these little videos and I just put them up privately on Facebook, and then I jumped off and started doing them on YouTube. Because I think I wanted to show people um, that um, you can be a jazz and blues singer and know nothing about
Mhm.
gardening and have really fancy nails and things like that. And then and you can turn around your life and you can actually become a grower. And
Yes.
we started preserving and canning up what we grow. I it's like I learned sourdough bread making and things like that, just like many people did. But this past year, I started selling things from my. I have a little urban stand out in front of my property,
Okay,
and
yeah.
so I sold seedlings this year. I'll be selling the vegetables and whatnot. And
So you
right
turned your
now,
little space into a little market garden.
yes, exactly.
Nice.
Yes, and
Nice.
I have some returning customers they were driving by in May, and it's like, "So are the vegetables out?" And it's like, "It's May. It's May."
Mhm. Mhm.
Lettuce, but no,
Yeah.
no squashes yet. No, no cucumbers, nothing like that. It's just still too early. But right now I've just done um a a farm tour. Oh, that was the other thing. Last year I was given the opportunity of another space to grow. So I grow here and then I
Yeah.
have an offsite garden that I grow from. And so I've done a tour of that one, and coming up Monday I will be having my urban farm tour. So I've this year I built a new farm stand and I have new raised beds out front. So that's really exciting because I know I showed the beds that I bought, and
Yeah.
everybody kept saying, "Well, they're really big. How are you going to fill
Mhm.
it?" So
Right.
my video is going to show you how I filled all four beds, um, and costing me basically $50. So which was
Oh, that's
pretty remarkable.
I love it.
And
I love it when people are showing budget gardening when it comes down to it, because gardening
yeah,
doesn't have to be all expensive and crazy of all that
no,
stuff. So I love it when people
no.
do that.
No.
Mhm.
And I just want that thing where you go, just grow something, grow a pot of
Mhm.
lettuce. That's the one I always go with
Yeah.
because everybody eats salad. And it's like,
Yeah.
even if you have a pot with just three, romaines in there, keeping it in a cool place, you're going to be able to have, salad throughout, your summer and save yourselves a bazillion dollars,
No,
you
no,
know.
exactly, exactly. Well, that's all really
Mhm.
good stuff, man, I'm telling you,
Thanks.
and again too, I look forward to, digging in and checking out some of that stuff you've got growing on your channel there too, and I see too
Thanks.
that you got a few of your followers jumping into our
Yeah.
chat here,
Yes.
so I wanted to mention to everybody who follows Diva too that, we got a great show here every Saturday and
Hmm.
Sunday when it comes down to it. We're all about community, we've got great guests each and every weekend when it comes down to it, except for next weekend, I'm sorry, I just you said I gotta hang out with my granddaughter, I swear.
That's right.
But yeah, we do have some really great shows. So definitely come and check out what we've got growing on there as well. And Diva, I'm gonna have to have you back because I'm really enjoying this conversation and I want to talk with you some
Thanks.
more about all the sort of stuff you've got growing on. So I'm gonna make sure I make a note of it. We'll get you back on the show here and really dig into that garden story just a little bit more this next
Thank you.
time, right?
Thank you.
Absolutely, and I really appreciate the compliments and coming on here and saying and helping affirm the mission that we've had here with the show and everything too, and it really is proven out by having such great
Yes.
folks like yourself taking the time to come here
Aw,
and hang out
well,
with us.
thank
So
you.
thank you
Thank you.
so much. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
You got it. All right, everybody. Make sure you go over and check out Diva in the Dirt. I know we got a link here. I'm sure Jay put a link in the chat there for all of you. Go and check that out. Go check everybody out. One other thing I did want to mention, I need to remember to mention too at the beginning of these community shows, is that all of you guys who are guests who've click that link. One other special little bonus, if you want and if you have time, okay, when we finish the show, when we're finished with the show and you see the end credits and it's done, click that link and you can come back into the studio for an after show little conversation that we do with all the folks who are guests on the show. Normally our guests will hang out, we'll have a little conversation or so, but today you all are the guest. So take that link, keep that link, use that after the show is over, and you can jump in for a fun little private after show conversation with everybody who's been a guest on the show today. So, all right, we're going to move along today. I've got a few more people in here, a couple more people in here right now. We're probably going to go a couple of minutes after or something like that. So I'll just warn you all about that as well, too, when it comes down to it. I'm going to take a new guest first, and then I know we've got someone who's been on, and we'll have you on, and then of course we'll end with our good friend Jay Dixon, our facilitator. So again, I want to say thank you to everybody who has participated today in our community show. It's been another amazing show with just amazing gardeners from all around the world, even joining with us here today to talk all about what they've got growing on. And next up, we're going to have with us here, let me see here, we got to make sure I got all this stuff ready to go. All right, let's bring in our new guest to the show, Julia. Julia, welcome to the show. Right on, good to have you. Excellent. Real quick, is there
my
one way
audio going and all that good jazz?
I can hear you audio? Is there any way we can get you to turn the phone camera to the side?
I can try, friend. Did that do it? Oh,
maybe. Sometimes it won't do it. Yeah, sometimes it won't do it after it's already done, but that's okay. We'll live with it for a minute. That's for
did that work?
No, I think because it's already said it did it. So we'll go ahead and turn it back the way it was. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah. Sometimes if it's already set its orientation when we get you on, it won't click back the way it should or whatever, but that's okay. That's okay. Thank you, Julia, for being here. Thanks for jumping in and hanging out with us today.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm an old guest, friend. It's Bohemian Herbology.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, then there we go. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. I didn't put 2 to 2 together there, but so perfect. That's great.
Yeah.
We see you all the time in the chat as well, too. So it's great to have you here on the community show with us. And yeah, like I said, even better, because I love to make sure to see those who are in our chat regularly, too, jumping in on these community shows and taking the opportunity to let everybody else get to know who you are. So tell us just a little bit here about Julia.
Well, I was outside in my central Illinois garden, and it was very hot, so I had to come indoors. It's about 100 degrees today.
Oh my!
So I brought.
You're in that heat.
I brought an example of how I store my seeds. I thought that might be something. So I store my seeds in individual packs, and I stick them all in the jar, and then I keep the corresponding tags, so I always have a record.
Excellent.
Yeah. And outside, I have so much going on, it would take me 2 hours to list. So
that's how much you got growing on, about 2 hours worth of stuff there, huh? What's probably your favorite thing that you do have growing on out there?
Sunflowers are starting to begin. My garlic's getting ready to harvest. My tomatoes are about waist high. Craig LaHoulier wrote me back a personal email and recommended a bunch of dwarf varieties. So
from our show when we had him on for the book club, huh?
Yes, thank you so much for your show. That's why I wanted to jump on. I really appreciate it on the weekends, getting to talk garden and meet all these fascinating people.
Yeah, it's so great. Awesome. Thank you so much too. And all of that. You mentioned sunflowers. I was just thinking yesterday as I was looking at my neighbor's garden as they're getting their thing started, and she's got several sunflowers up. And I was like, you know what? I've been so busy doing and thinking about all these other things. I forgot to set out sunflowers for myself. So I don't got any sunflowers growing this year, actually. I do have one volunteer, though, that did pop up like in the gravel next to the alleyway. So I'm thinking I might try to dig it out and see if I can't put it in a better spot somewhere, if it'll survive that transition. But yeah, it'll be my one lone sunflower because I didn't really put them out yet. But I love growing sunflowers. They're great.
Yes, I will have to take a video of them here. I have a half of an entire yard full. They're all started with black oil sunflower seed from the home improvement store. And I didn't really plant any either. I throw them out for the birds, and I have a bird feeder, and they grow.
Yeah,
They come up every year on their own. A lot of my garden is direct seeded.
Direct seeded, yeah. Yeah, I would say about 80% of my garden is, well, I mean, not direct seeded, but I would say no, about 20% as far as direct seeding, but 20%, 80% are things that, you know, we're putting into the garden is basically what I'm trying to say. 20, and then another 20% are like volunteers. So I love my volunteers. I love those things that pop up and stuff. So I try to make sure that we can keep space and keep them, keep enough room for them so they can make sure that we're growing those things out as well too. Because I always find they're the best plants when it comes down to it. But right on, right on. And what else you got growing out? You say, I mean, again, too, you're caught up in this heat dome as well, too. 100 and some degrees out there right now, huh?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have tons of flowers for the pollinators. I heard you talking about delphinium earlier. I have a bunch of wild larkspur, delphinium, clematis, licorice mint, rose mint, nasturtium. I could just list and list and list. About 15 different varieties of pole beans. And I live in a mobile home park, so, you know, right on to urban gardening.
Oh yeah, so then you're really dealing with just a small little space then, huh? Or do you how much
for
space?
sure.
Yeah, because most
It's
people know
not
those
even
mobile homes
1,500
are.
square feet. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, most people are familiar with like mobile homes and stuff. It's just really just like a little, not even a square, maybe a rectangle right back behind your space, right? So
Exactly.
there isn't much there. Do you at least get some good sun in that space?
Yes, all kinds of sun, and I have
Oh, good.
incredible yields.
Yeah.
It is a little bit more work because you have to trellis everything up. It wants to grow and take over the neighbors. But besides that, I just put down cardboard and keep adding to it, like a lasagna style garden. So I've never disturbed a spadeful. I think that's important to talk about for rental status.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I just love to grow and get it in as much as you can. Fill in pots, containers on the porch, driveway, just everywhere.
Yeah. So our channel's just right up your alley, right?
Yes, it really spoke to me. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's so awesome. Great. Well, again, too, I really do appreciate you jumping on and taking the opportunity to be here with us today for our show. And again, too, always love seeing you in the chat. And I look forward to seeing more from you. And again, you have a channel as well, too. It's Bohemian Herbology, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure if that's going to go through fruition, friend. I'm like you, and I just want to do things well. And I have a lot of problem with technology. And thank goodness for you and all the other folks that put out all that great, you know, content. I don't have to worry about it so much. I can just cheer you guys on.
Well, then there we go. I love that just as much, man. That just sounds just as awesome to me right there. Just a great regular viewer and someone who just loves watching and listening in and being a part of these conversations that we get to have here every weekend here on the Let's Get Growing show. Julia, Bohemian Herbology, I really do appreciate you taking your time being here with us. And again, I look forward to seeing you in the comments in future shows. And then again, maybe again on one of our next community shows.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking your time to be with us today. It's great to have you. All right. Awesome. Again, too, like I say, we're and I guess this is kind of the thing when it comes to doing these types of shows and stuff too, is like, you know, things are going along and then all of a sudden it's getting towards the end and you're like, oh no, I got to cram it in. I got to get all this stuff done. But again, these are community shows. I'm not going to be as stringent with like I'm stringent with our end time as well anyways, but when it comes down to it, but we do got everybody here right now real quick. So let's just keep moving along. Again, everybody, thank you for being here and hanging out with us today for our community show, where all of you are the guest here. And again, look forward to seeing all of you again coming up. But let's get our next guest in here real quick. I'm trying to make sure. I'm sorry, I'm rambling because I'm trying to make sure I get these buttons right. But yeah, we know this guy. He's one of our new contributors to our Sunday edition in the garden segment. It's our
Hey,
Paul
how are you?
from Good and Gardening jumping in. Hey, Paul, thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for getting in on our last minute conversation here before we finish up the show. But again, it's always great to see you. And and again, thanks for jumping in on the In the Garden segment. As I was mentioning with Dave earlier in the show, we've already gotten a good chance to get you guys introduced and everything. So I'm really looking forward to what's coming up in these next coming segments for In the Garden.
Yeah.
When you see what you got growing on.
Absolutely. It's so funny, the weather here in Wisconsin. I know Dusty.
Oh, you're in it too, huh? You're in it too.
Oh man, it's so warm outside. I can't even have my hat on inside, which is it's just, I usually show up with a hat on no matter what, but it is something else out there. But I got so much to do, but we spent so long with cooler weather. Now that it's hitting us, it's telling us that I don't know what it's trying to tell us, but it's hot.
Right.
It's very hot.
It's
very
hot.
humid.
Man, it is so strange though, too, as I'm hearing from all you folks over that's what we should be right now. That's what I'm supposed to be. And as I was mentioning at the beginning of the show, our good friend, Mr. NBC, who also does In the Garden, who our original In the Garden guy, he was doing a little post earlier and mentioned this phrase called January.
Oh, okay.
January. Now, this is something that if we live like Portland, Seattle, up in the more northern of the Pacific Northwest, I was more familiar with that. I haven't heard that term since I moved down here to Southern Oregon because I haven't seen a January since I've moved here, and it's been about 13 plus years or so. And I'm telling you right now, you're sweating. You can't wear a hat. I feel like I need a jacket right now. I'm not even kidding you. And really ultimately it's because it's been really, really warm, and we've had a couple of hundreds already. So I've kind of acclimated to some really, really warm weather. And then we just dipped down into the 60s. And I'm like, what is going on? It's chilly in the studio today.
Article I just read said like 170 million people are going to be affected by the heat wave going through, but clearly you're not. You're not one. You're not one of us today.
No. Yeah, I was exactly. We got the very opposite. And I think it's probably because of those weather patterns why those things have turned that way. Something just kind of went your direction, and whatever was intended to go your direction went my direction.
Yeah. Well, I tell you the result here for me, because I mean we don't get this kind of heat all that often. We get some warm weather here, but it's just not as frequent. What it means is quick trips out to the garden instead of long stays doing work, because otherwise I mean at this point I don't think it's all that safe to be out there too long, and I don't want to do anything like that. But I've got some things. I got the scapes have to come off my garlic right away, and I need to get out there, take care of that. I've got some more weeding to do, but some things are going to wait till the evening, and since it's light until after 9 o'clock right now, I think we can wait a couple more hours to let that happen.
Yeah, exactly. In South Florida, sunshine tropicals. Oh, I would love a dip down. I know you would for sure. I can imagine you folks down there in Florida for sure.
Yeah.
I could probably love a dip down probably almost any time of the year.
Well, it's one of the benefits of living in a zone 5 area. We have a shorter growing season, but we don't have to deal with that constant heat that is so difficult, I think, for a lot of gardeners. So
yeah. Because like I said, once this little dip, is done, we're right into summer, and it's going to get, I know it's going to get really, really warm around here for sure.
Bowtie just asked daylight till after 9. I was out recording the video that I released today at 8:57 p.m. last night, and there was still enough light to film. So
yeah, I know. Again, too, it's so nice. Again, the longest day of the year. It's starting to wind down now, though. That's the whole problem with the longest day of the year. That means it's a wind down time. But yeah, it's nice to be able to get out there at like 9 o'clock, and it'll just dusk. You know,
Yeah.
it's just barely starting dusk. You're like, oh wow, this is nice.
Oh yeah.
Few months from now, it'll be 6 o'clock and it'll be dark again. So let's enjoy this while
When
we
hit
got
the
it.
daylight
And I know
savings
our
time,
plants are.
oof, when we hit the daylight savings times, it kicks us at 4:30. It's dark. It's dark when I go to work, dark when I come out of there. That's a little bit tough. So we'll take the long days now. I don't want to keep you too long. I just want to stop in and say hi to everybody. So I appreciate your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on, of course.
Absolutely, Paul. Anytime. Always great to see you. And again, we do look forward to seeing Paul from Guten Gardening in one of our upcoming In the Garden segments. But as I don't know if you got to see the beginning of the show when I had David on, I pinned David for being on next week. And I was like, because I forgot. This is a 5 Sunday month. Oh my gosh, it's up to me. I got to do this now. So the pressure's on me now. I got to come up with the In the Garden segment for next week. But yeah, we definitely look forward to seeing you tomorrow for our In the Garden segment. So everybody definitely come and check out Paul's In the Garden segment for tomorrow's Sunday edition show. And again, good to see you here on our community show, Paul. We look forward to seeing you again real soon.
Absolutely. Take care.
You got it. All right, everybody. Here we are again, too. We're just a little loose with the time. Just a couple more minutes to go because we do have one more guest that we got to have here with us today. Also do want to remind everybody, though, if you are a guest today on the show, use that link and come and join with us after the show is over here in the studio for an after the show conversation. If you'd like, use that show link. Again, fun little conversation for all the guests of the show. Okay, let's get in. And one of the fun things that we've been doing too with these community shows and getting a chance to talk with all of our fun, awesome guests and small channels and those folks who are doing all sorts of things here to help out and contribute and be a part of our show. There's one person who's come and contributed probably one of the best ways that I can ever imagine for this show. One of the big parts of our community here on the Let's Get Growing show, a person we all know and love very, very well. Let's welcome our good friend and facilitator of the Let's Get Growing show, Jay Dixon. Jay, welcome to the show. It's good to have you back. How's it going? How are you doing?
Busy, pleasantly busy. I was a little late putting in the garden this year, but I am thrilled to be back. I am kind of trying to do optimum conditions to get those seeds sprouting. So we have a limited garden season up in my area of Canada. So if I don't kind of move things along, I'm not going to get the mature results for all the work that I put in. So I have been super eager at that.
Awesome. Good to get that stuff done, huh?
Fabulous. Yes. Another little project I did last night was I've been deliberately reaching out to different gardeners, and I went to one person's place last night with my entire seed library and said, be seed greedy, take my seeds. They have a limited life, even in correct storage. I want to see these things smiling out at me from your soil soon. So I was trying to do sort of like a public outreach. And then the other thing I've been doing is I have a very abundant, very large rhubarb patch that is not due to my gardening skill. It is just an innately great gardening patch of fabulous rhubarb. So I've been holding back on harvesting and bringing absolute pounds of it to the local food bank so that the excess in my garden is going to help people in need. Money's getting a little tight for people. It's getting to be maybe a bit more of a struggle in different categories. So I'm trying to help share things on, and I want to encourage other people to think about outreaching in their communities in ways they might be able to share their gardening excess. And the other project I kind of did was, before I even did my garden, we have a 43-member garden plot, community garden in my area, and 7 of the gardeners were more elderly and more disabled than most, but they still wanted to be in their gardening. So I got their gardens kind of plant ready so that they could have possibly like one more year of gardening when it would have been a struggle to set up. So that was weeks of effort to get them to stay in gardening when it was a bit of a struggle. So.
Oh, excellent. I love, man, I love that. I love what you're doing there with that rhubarb and all of that, man. I'm thinking now too, is what I should do. I think there's a good spot in the back alleyway now that we can think maybe just a little bit more permanently with certain stuff because of my new neighbor, new owner. He owns the place now. I think maybe what we should do is probably get some rhubarb started back there and get that stuff going. That would be a great idea. It's one of my favorite things that reminds me of my grandma. When I used to live up in Alaska, she grew all sorts of just this amazing rhubarb up in Alaska and would make some of the most amazing like rhubarb cobblers with different things. And, strawberry rhubarb cobbler, of course, is probably a big favorite, but she would do different rhubarb combinations of different stuff. And it was always so amazing. And, but yeah, so I gotta see about maybe getting some of that started in our garden space.
Well, I also gifted out around my little village that I live in, and one of the younger than me ladies loves it so much that I have to make sure I rinse it because she chews it raw just as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. I heard that isn't it not supposed to? Isn't it like rhubarb one of those things where I don't know? Is it something you eat raw?
She does.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's something I definitely, because I don't grow it and I haven't really. It's probably one of those plants I'm not as familiar with, so I definitely have to look that up a little bit more. I see Grow Junior Grows at Alaska. It says Alaska, yeah.
I'm not that far north, but I am, north of many of the people, attending on the show.
Yeah.
I
went to high school for a couple of years up there in Soldotna, Alaska. So I lived in Kasilof, actually. We used to ride up to Soldotna. And so I went to one of the brand new high schools, at least back then in the early 90s when they built it. It was brand new. It was the first year we opened this high school up there. It's called Skyview High School up in Soldotna, Alaska. And so I spent a couple of years up there. I know what life is like up there. I've heard it's a little bit different today, though.
Yeah.
As far as weather.
I just want to kind of back up what I just said here because it sounded a little bit like I was blowing my own horn about community programs. But what I'm trying to do is I'm so glad that the community that is building up to support and help each other within this channel. Mm-hmm. But additionally, part of the reason that I talk about the community things that I do is to inspire other people. In my opinion, opportunities to be more generous with your gardening materials, your gardening knowledge. Maybe in this particular strength, I'm still young enough that I have a certain amount of strength that is kind of waxing on some of the gardeners that have put 20, 30 years in. And if I can help them so that they can be supported through one more gardening season and feel good about it, that's another role that I can play so that they're, more happy gardeners and basically in my backyard, you might say. And so I guess what I'm trying to do is to get other people to not necessarily copy what I do, but to kind of go, I wonder if an opportunity is going to come across for me in this week where I could kind of take the gardening knowledge, experience, materials that I've got and help somebody else out, because I think we're going to be going through some kind of toughening times in the near future, and not to be too negative on it, but the support that other people will have could be the thing to lift them up emotionally, practically. And we all need food, and all of us in this audience have some expertise that can help somebody else.
That's right. That's right. And again, too, as I always mention too here on the show, right? That's what we're here for. That's kind of the idea of the show, is to be a community space where we can all gather and do all that sort of stuff. But again, you emphasize a really great point that we try to also make sure that folks understand as well too, that we're building great community here on social media or on YouTube and all these different spaces, but really great, good gardening community really is right at home, out of our backyards. and the seeds that we save that we can share with others in the spaces, and showing people how we do things, or helping them learn and really help facilitate their garden experience as well, right?
I had someone who was saying, gee, I got an extra gardening space, but money's a little tight. And I say, I got excess seeds. Can I come over tonight? You know? And it can be as simple as that. And they kind of held back. And I say, see all these seeds? Limited life, even in proper storage, they need to be in the ground. Get seed greedy. I am offering you my excess. This is needing to be planted. You are helping yourself, but you are helping me by having this get in good use so they don't stale out as seeds. I'm storing them the best I can, but eventually they have to have a life, you know?
That's right. That's right. Diva in the Dirt, Maureen, wasn't that awesome? Her coming on and today too. Everybody else, awesome, great conversations we've had today. She asks, where in Canada are you? As we learned, she's all the way on the other side, though, in Vancouver, where the side of Canada I'm familiar with.
Correct. Yes. So she's just north of you, whereas I'm in southwestern Ontario. So I'm pretty much in the middle of Canada, and Canada kind of slides down. We sneak our way into the States a little bit by kind of sliding down by the Great Lakes. And I'm down in that section where the Great Lakes kind of comes down. So I'm actually kind of surrounded by the Great Lakes. And I'm pretty much in the middle, and I'm very near what they call Lake Huron. So I'm quite affected in terms of my weather and my gardening by Lake Huron, which is why I keep putting in my thing in the lee of Lake Huron, because it kind of explains a little bit about the effects for me in terms of gardening and weather. So that's where I am. And I've pretty much lived in this region my whole life. I've lived in different communities. I've also traveled some parts of the world, but I'm pretty settled here. Like Tony in the UK, he's quite, tied to Wales, and I'm tied to my region.
Yeah, we kind of are, if we've really, settled in somewhere. Like for me, I actually, again, was talking with my daughter not too long ago about, how great it is that she found herself kind of settling here in Southern Oregon with me, because I moved here away from I came to a place I didn't necessarily know folks or anything. I just had I lived here for a short period of time when I was younger. And so I came back. But I've been here now 13, 14 years, and this is just home now. And I don't think I really want to be anywhere else than Southern Oregon when it comes down to it. And I was talking with my daughter. I think that was so great that she kind of followed along with me too, to come settle here too. So it worked out perfect for me when it came down to it. So I think I'm fine where I'm at. And it makes sense, when you think about it, how people kind of get to where they are. And again, too, we always got to make these adjustments too. We really get to, if we're going to talk about it in the sense of gardening, right? That, for you, you've got these, this whole ecosystem and things that are happening with the weather and the lakes and all that sort of stuff. So you've developed a gardening, habits that are affected by those sort of conditions. And so now that's how you garden, right?
Yes.
So for me, I got that same sort of situation here. So I think that's one of the things that helps us settle somewhere, right? Is that, oh man, I've got this down. My garden's growing really well. Now I don't want to have to move somewhere else and have to relearn a whole new ecosystem.
Well, I was in a situation where I was rental place to rental place. So all of the work establishing gardens, and then for one reason or another, having to move on. So to me, this is sort of my permanent retirement community. I'm in a situation, very much like Bohemian Herbology in terms of being in a tiny home community. And I'm trying to do different things to build community and sort people here so that we're a friendlier, more supportive community here. And I'm doing that through gardening and through other things. And I've come up with a few different things that I do that makes it so that I'm a bit of a character in the community, as you can imagine, a little bit like Dave. Bowtie Dave, and that I do things that are a little edgy for some people's comfort, but all in good fun. I'm mostly trying to do things that are positive, friendly, or practical stuff to make things fun for people. And in terms of gardening, just to throw out a few other possibilities, just to get people thinking about how they might want to be contributing in their own village, town, community and stuff. I do things like each summer I adopt about 10, 12 families or households, I guess you might say. And I do what I call Curb Mart, where I take my garden cart full of my excess produce and I go to those places and let them pick out whatever they want. So that's my garden excess. It goes to them. And my garden excess gets really excessive, like beyond canning, freezing, etc. when I have one particular crop that's crazy amounts, like 2 bushels of tomatoes or something. What I'll often do is take my trike and garden cart and I ride throughout my community of about 1,000 people. And I say, Tomato Fairy, how are you fixed for tomatoes? And this year I may actually dress as a tomato fairy. Pay attention to that, Dave.
Yeah.
And I bring, like, I save bread bags and things like that. So people have little containers. And at first they're a little bit like, are you really sure? And I gesture back to, like, I don't know, 100 tomatoes and going, are you kidding me? Yes, take 2, 3 tomatoes. And I deliberately plant extremely intensely and vertically in a small space so that I can be generous to the food bank, to the households I adopt, so that I can be the tomato fairy or the lettuce fairy or whatever, just for random frivolity of, isn't this silly, but very practical. Here's food for your supper tonight. And I don't worry about whether it's people in need or not for that. I'm just trying to show an attitude of generosity. And to me, gardening is a vehicle to so many things, but it is a practical way to be very generous with your knowledge, your skills, and your actual produce. And so I'm not saying people necessarily need to do the same things. I'm saying, hey, I'm sure that there's things that will come across your path where you go, that funny Jay, she got me thinking about opportunities of what I can do to becoming part of growing community through gardening, which is one of our themes, in my local community. Is this one of the opportunities? Is it reasonable that I could do something now? And I'm hoping some of you will come back with tales of things that you've done.
That's right. Yes, we want to hear all about it. That's for sure. Right on, right on. Again, too, Jay, here we are, another amazing community show, practically finished in the books. We were emailing last night. And again, it's each time I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, we hope everything goes all right. And lo and behold, this community is just amazing, isn't it?
Yes, but I'm quite a chatter. I will have mercy upon you all. We are running quite a bit later than usual. The one thing I do want to remind some of you who've chosen to be on the show is that we have a little bit of an after party chat for you. So using that same link, you can come on back in. We'll chat for a little while longer. And then I need to also get on and get
we got things to do, but it's always fun to have a little after show, little chat party when the show's over and all of that too. We had a really fun time last time as well. So I look forward to that here in just a few minutes. And again, like you said, use that link that we've given you. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it up. Or actually, you know what? Maybe I don't have it linked right now. I can't do that right now, actually. But anyways, for all the guests who've been on here, you do have the link. If you do have the link, use that link. Come in after the credits are all over, the show's finished up. Come into the studio as soon as it's done, and everything's done there. I'll bring you all back in, and we'll have a fun little chat with each other too as well. So that'll be fun. And Jay, again, like I said, this is so fun. This is what a great way to also finish up the show. Get a chance to hang out with you a little bit here and catch up with what's going on. And I see a lot of folks as well too. Let me do one more thanking of Diva in the Garden too, because Diva's actually, I believe, streaming this through her channel as well. So we're seeing several of like her guests and folks from her channel as well too. So I want to thank Diva for doing that. I want to say to those folks as well, come on over for the weekends. and come hang out with Jay and I here on the Let's Get Growing show, as we got great guests each and every weekend here, and fun conversations. And again, we're all about community around here, building gardening community, whether it's you the viewer, if you're viewing, like like our guest just a little bit ago, and you want to just come on and chat and all that sort of stuff, or if you got small channels and you want to get a chance to promote and talk about and tell your garden story and all that sort of stuff, these community shows are so much fun, so great. And what we'll do is we'll keep working to make sure we find spots to do this more throughout the gardening season. We'll give you guys some good heads up and get the word out about them, and then hopefully we'll get to have some more fun chats. We're gonna have to, I don't know, again too, if this gets popular enough though too, we're gonna have to start figuring something else out when it comes down to it. I was kind of explaining that a little bit at the beginning of the show. I think there's a point where we might have to be like, okay, we have to pre-do some stuff or something, but we're not quite there yet. We're having so much fun as it is. We'll keep doing it as it is until we have to get there. But yeah, man, thanks everybody for being here with us and joining with us here too. We have so much fun with these fun conversations that you all bring to our show.
Excess guests, excess produce. What a terrible problem to have. Oh no, we'll have to come up with solutions.
Oh my, what do we do? What do we do? Excellent, Jay. Always great to catch up with you. And thank you for everything that you do here on our show and for the gardening community as a whole. You do such a wonderful job with taking care of all that sort of stuff. We really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you again at the end of our next community show. And I think she's frozen. I think she's frozen on us too.
Yes, I'm going to have to come back. Yeah.
Perfect smile though. Perfect smile. Thanks, Jay. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
You betcha. We'll see you. All right, everybody. There we go again. We're running a little late today, but another great show here for all of you. And thank you all so much for being here and contributing and everything to our show. As I mentioned, we got a great show for you all tomorrow on our Sunday edition. We got a great conversation about horticultural therapy with the professor from Tennessee University talking all about this growing profession. We got Alicia DeVore from Create My Garden joining in on that conversation as she's working to become a horticultural therapist. So really going to be really great conversation. You'll want to come and check that out. But before you leave today, definitely make sure that you're clicking that like button, hitting that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to be notified of all of our upcoming videos and live streams, and share with all of your garden friends out there. And like I said and mentioned earlier, and have kind of mentioned throughout the show today, let's share and get the word out there to all these small garden channels out there. If you've got smaller channels in your comment sections or other ones that let's get the word out to these folks and let them know about the Let's Get Growing show here and these community shows that we do. We'll work on a good way we can get good shout outs to everybody so they know, and we can get them here on the show to be able to talk about what they've got growing on and what they're contributing to the gardening community. Also, be sure, like I said, you join with us here every Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. British Standard Time, and except for what is going to be this next Saturday. And I'm going to play this one more time. It's only a few seconds. I know we're running a little late, but I just got to see it. All right, everybody, look who we're here with. I got my granddaughter, Layla. Hi, Layla, say hi. Yeah. So guess what? Next Saturday on our show day is Layla's very first birthday. Yes, it's her first birthday. So we're not going to have a show. So we're going to take the day off, and I'm going to go hang out with my granddaughter for her first birthday. But all of you can still join in on the show and join in on the chat, as we'll keep the chat open as always. And hopefully we'll see all of you guys on next Sunday's show. What? I think one of the reasons why I did actually, wanted to play that again too, is you notice that very ending there. She found the Monstera. right there at the moment we were standing right here, and she got a good hold of one of those leaves right there. But yeah, again too. So again, no show next Saturday though. We will keep the chat open for everybody, and then again, we will be back for our next Sunday edition of the show next week, and we will have a great conversation with my good friends from Kangstar and where are they at? There we are. Here we are. My good friends, Kangstar from the Kangstar channel and Christopher Bransdal from Christopher Bransdal, growing out of Norway, the mountains of Norway. These are my good friends. These are my original live stream buddies. These guys helped me get into the whole live streaming thing and talking and interviewing guests and all that sort of stuff. So it's always great to catch up with them every couple months and see how things are growing along in the garden with them. So we'll catch up with them next Sunday as well too. So thank you all so much for being here. And I look forward to seeing all of you on our very next show. Check out the also links down in the description as well too. But yeah, it's been such a fun day. I always love hanging out with you guys. I just can't get enough of it, but we do got to go. I'll see you all tomorrow on the Sunday edition. See you then.